At the very beginning, the story opens with a scene where a man is injecting a green liquid into an egg yolk. Moments later, the single yolk splits into two. The scene then shifts to a group of people working on creating a new star named Elisabeth Sparkle. Elisabeth was already an exceptionally beautiful model and also the host of a popular show. For a while after becoming a star, people would come to see her and take selfies. But gradually, public interest began to fade, and the star started losing her shine, with no one paying attention anymore, clearly showing that Elisabeth Sparkle's fame was waning. The next scene shows Elisabeth at 50 years old. Despite her age, she continues to host the same show. After finishing a shoot, when she went to use the restroom, she found the women's restroom closed for some reason, so she went into the men's restroom. There, she encountered the show's director, who was on the phone, explaining that Elisabeth was no longer the same as before. The high ratings she once brought in had dropped, and now he needed to replace her with a younger, beautiful girl for the show. Hearing this, Elisabeth broke down completely. The beauty she had once taken pride in was gone. She stared at herself in the mirror, noticing the many wrinkles, feeling sadness not only for her youth lost but also for being removed from the show. Unable to bear it, Elisabeth went to confront the director, who said, "Elisabeth, I can't help you. My show depends on giving the audience what they want, and they want that kind of beauty," confirming that she was no longer part of the show. His words crushed her. She left the hotel, but while driving, his words echoed in her mind, causing her attention to waver. She crashed into an oncoming car. Yet astonishingly, she walked away without a scratch. It was sheer luck. The doctor discharged her, but she wept bitterly after seeing her images on the billboards along the way. A nurse checked her spine, returned her clothes, and left a message hidden in her coat stating that something had been changed for her, along with a flash drive labeled the substance. When Elisabeth returned home, she immediately inserted the flash drive into her computer. It contained information about a magical fluid called the substance. This substance could give an elderly person a new, youthful version of themselves, along with a companion fluid to maintain both versions of the old body and the new one. Using it was not simple. The person had to activate each version every 7 days. To keep the young body stable, it had to be injected daily with a special substance extracted from the spine of the old body. When one version was active, the other remained unconscious. At first, Elisabeth thought it was a lie and threw the flash drive in the trash. But that night, she suffered another breakdown, staring at pictures of her younger self at home. She eventually regained her composure and contacted the number provided, ordering the substance. The person on the other end spoke very little, only asking for her address and giving her a secret location and a call card. The next morning, Elisabeth read the newspaper and saw an advertisement from her company for interviews to replace her with a new model, which deepened her sadness. Alongside the newspaper, she found a black envelope with a number written on it. Following the instructions, she arrived at a secret location inside a house, a locker room accessible only with the number card. Inside her locker, she discovered a box, which she brought home. Opening it, she found a serum and an injection to be used once, along with a stabilizer kit for maintaining the young body daily. The stabilizer's fluid had to come from the spine of her old body. There was also a special kit for switching between the two bodies and specific food for both versions. Elisabeth then spent a long time in front of the mirror, unsure whether to proceed. Eventually, she injected the green fluid, the substance, into herself. Initially, nothing seemed to happen, but soon she was in excruciating pain as her eyes began to bulge, and then her back split open, revealing a new, young version of herself. She stared at her reflection, in disbelief at the youthful beauty that had emerged. After some time, the old Elisabeth, her backbone, emerged, and she attached a food bag to maintain the old body. That night, she marveled at her new beauty. The next morning, noticing her nose bleeding, Elisabeth remembered the activation kit. To maintain the young body, she had to extract the substance from her old body's spine and inject it. Once done, she returned to full health, even more beautiful than before. She prepared for the audition for the same show that had removed her, stunning everyone, including the director, who immediately selected her. Elisabeth used the name So for this new identity. Elisabeth, now in her young form, had fully embraced her new body, enjoying every moment of her revived beauty and vitality. Days passed, and she adapted to the routine of switching between her old and new versions, following the strict instructions from the kit she had received. Each day, she carefully drew the substance from her old body to inject into her young body, ensuring that the new body remained fully functional and beautiful. She reveled in the admiration she received, walking through the streets and seeing her image everywhere on billboards, posters, and advertisements. As the 7th day approached, the day designated for switching bodies once again, Elisabeth carefully prepared herself. She made sure that everything was ready: the stabilizer kit, the special food for both bodies, and the injection setup. With precise movements, she activated the substance in her old body and transferred it to the young one. This process was exhausting and painful, yet the results were always astonishing. Her new body remained flawless and radiant, while her old body lay dormant, safely hidden with all necessary sustenance. However, Elisabeth's growing greed and obsession with remaining in the young body led her to take risks. She delayed switching at times, causing the old body to weaken. One day, when she finally decided to switch back, she discovered that one of her fingers had melted due to neglect. Panicked, she immediately contacted the company that supplied the substances, desperate for guidance. The reply was chilling: there was nothing to be done. She had to be extremely careful because any mistake could be irreversible. Elisabeth realized that her new body, though beautiful, was also a responsibility, and she was essentially a single entity, not two separate people. Meanwhile, strange occurrences began to happen. She saw an old man in a restaurant with a mark on his hand identical to the one she had seen on the nurse's hand in the hospital. The man cryptically asked if her new body had started eating her, which frightened Elisabeth greatly. She fled, realizing that her actions with the substance had consequences she did not fully understand. At home, she tried to maintain normalcy, meeting a friend and presenting herself as perfectly beautiful, yet the stress and fear of discovery gnawed at her. Seeing the posters of Sue, the young star who had taken over her fame, she spiraled into panic and depression, struggling with her emotions and her obsession with youth and beauty. Elisabeth's dreams became chaotic and surreal. One night, she dreamt of her body developing strange features like a chicken emerging from her belly button and waking in a panic. This dream, terrifying and vivid, reminded her that all the substance experiments were risky, and her life depended on strict adherence to the regimen. Upon waking, she switched to her young body for the day, preparing for her show. But the studio was in chaos. The team informed her that the ordinary show she hosted would no longer continue. Her despair shifted quickly to hope when the director offered her the chance to host the New Year Eve special. Without hesitation, she accepted, knowing this would cement her fame once again. During these days, Elisabeth continued the meticulous process of taking the stabilizer from her old body to sustain her young body, ensuring she could maintain the illusion of perfection. Time passed, and she realized the old Elisabeth, her original body, was deteriorating from overuse of the serum. Frustration and anger towards Sue grew within her, leading her to destroy every image of Sue and even cover mirrors where Sue's advertisements were visible. She desperately contacted the company for solutions, but was told that what had happened could not be reversed. Elisabeth was faced with a choice: continue the risky substance routine or accept the decay of her old body. Then, she received a call from Sho, another person involved in the substance process. Elisabeth switched bodies once more, injecting the serum from her old body into the young one for 3 months straight, prolonging her youth and power. But just before New Year's Eve, her supply of fluid ran out. She visited a boy's house, feeling intense pain as her organs threatened to fail. When she attempted to extract the serum from her old body, nothing came out. Panicked, she called the company, learning she had exhausted her supply and would have to wait for a refill while still managing the body-switching process. Sue, now trapped in Elisabeth's old body, struggled with the deteriorating condition of her form. Her appearance was grotesque, aged, frail, and almost unrecognizable. Elisabeth, controlling the young body, had to keep injecting the substance to survive, but the consequences on the old body were becoming more severe. Every switch caused more damage to the dormant body, and the risk of permanent loss loomed heavily. In the lift, as Elisabeth rushed home to administer the serum, a nail and part of her ear fell off, terrifying her. She had to mask her condition from the public and anyone nearby, acting as if nothing had happened while dealing with the chaos within. Once home, she injected one of the last remaining substances into herself, causing extreme pain. Her body tore from the waist, and a horrifying hybrid form emerged, a grotesque mixture of Sue and Elisabeth. Mentally unstable and terrified, Elisabeth barely comprehended what she had become. Still, she placed a photo of Sue over the hybrid's face and stepped onto the stage for her show. The moment the photo fell, her monstrous hybrid appearance was revealed, sending the crowd into panic. People screamed, ran away, and called her a monster, terrified of the transformation that had once been Elisabeth Sparkle. In the chaos, a man wielding a baseball bat struck the hybrid Elisabeth, breaking her face and causing blood to splatter across the studio. Her body disintegrated into fragments, resembling an insect-like mass sprawled across the floor. Amidst this destruction, her face remained on the ground, staring at the ceiling with a sinister smile, while blood flowed across the studio. By the following morning, the workers arrived to clean the aftermath, wiping away the remnants of Elisabeth's star and the horrific hybrid form she had become. Thus, the rise and fall of Elisabeth Sparkle, from her glorious youth to her dangerous obsession with the magical substance, culminated in a monstrous, and her beauty, her fame, and her identity all dissolved into chaos. The substance had given her new life, but it had also unraveled everything she had once been, leaving only a terrifying memory of the woman who had once been a celebrated star.